Being a great leader isn't something you master on day one, or even in the first couple of years. Look, I've been leading for decades, and I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands of leaders here at Learnit, and here's what I've learned. Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about having humility to keep learning, the courage to step out of your comfort zone, and the belief that it's your responsibility as a leader to develop the members of your team to be even better than they themselves think they can be. Look, if this appeals to you, then you're in the right place. Because in this episode, I'm going to share with you 5 leadership shifts that I've personally made and I've seen in the very best leaders I've come across in over 30 years of my career. I promise you that if you make these 5 shifts, you will 100% become a much better leader. Welcome to the Learn It All podcast. I'm Damon Lembi, CEO of Learnit, a live learning platform on a mission to help leaders develop the skills and confidence they need to create world-class leaders. Before we jump into the first shift, I want to tell you to stick around to the very end because I have a great gift for you that's worth thousands of dollars, and it's going to help you and your team on your journey to build the skills and confidence that you need. All right, let's get started. Shift number 1, from know-it-all to learn-it-all. Too many leaders tend to think that their ideas are best and they have all the answers. I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you someone who comes into a conversation and when somebody brings up an idea, you immediately shut it off because you think your idea is better? Or are you stuck in your ways? If you are someone like this, I want you to reflect back, think about that, and it's time to move from thinking that you need to have all the answers to leading with curiosity and humility. Here's why this matters. When you show that you're open to learning, your team will feel safe to experiment and share ideas. It models growth and innovation. If you don't do this and you stick to your know-it-all mentality, you're going to risk creating a yes culture, a culture where people feel like they need to wait for you to decide, that you make all decisions, which will slow down progress. It's going to limit creativity. You'll lose great talent. And most of all, you won't be able to scale as an organization because you'll be the bottleneck. Over time, the best talent will leave. They're going to try to find a company that makes them feel heard and where they can truly contribute. I want you to think about it this way. Why would you work so hard to find and hire great talent and then just stick them in a box and limit their ability and limit their talent? What you need to do is allow them to share their ideas, empower them to take action, and have their backs. So here's how you do it. Here's a true learn it all move. Next time a challenge comes up, resist jumping in with the solution first and thinking your answer is best. What I want you to do is instead ask, what options do you see here? Or what's another way we can tackle this? And then sit back and really listen to what they have to say. If you want to dive deeper into becoming a Learn It All leader, you can check out my book, the link's in the show notes, or just go into Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and search for the Learn It All leader. Shift number 2, from hero to hero maker. This is the number one challenge I see with top performing individual contributors are used to rolling up their sleeves, putting in the hard work, taking the bull by the horns, and getting it all done themselves. As a leader, this is definitely not the case. It requires a huge mindset shift. You need to set aside your ego and learn how to win through your team. Make it all about them. Real leaders dedicate their time to coaching and investing in their people, putting them first, having the patience for when their people make mistakes, supporting them during tough times, and giving them the credit when things go well. If this is something that you're not comfortable with, then you shouldn't be a leader. Great leaders know it's not about them, it's about their team and the results they drive for their organization. Let me give an example that just doesn't work that I see all the time. A sales manager joins a sales rep on a discovery call with a client. They sit down, let's say this rep is relatively new, it could be a big opportunity, and the rep starts struggling. And right off the bat, the leader jumps in and takes over, runs the call. The rep sits back, kind of crosses her arm, loses interest, and feels like the leader doesn't trust them. And at the end of the day, you walk out of the room. Maybe the meeting goes well to the point where the client buys. But what really happens there is that the new rep has lost confidence in themselves. And now it's all about the leader. And that is not a way to grow. It's not a way to scale. And at the end of the day, this short-term win is going to have a long-term loss. What the leader should have done is allowed the rep to continue going, maybe jump in slightly to course correct, but at the end of the day, let them do their best and try. And when that meeting's over, Have a coaching situation with them. Ask them what went well, what can we do differently, and allow them to learn and grow. When you do that, it gives the rep the confidence in the future to realize that as they learn and grow, they don't have to rely solely on their manager or their leader to jump in and save the day. Let me share with you one more tip on how to do this. Take an up and coming employee and delegate a project to them with stretch potential. Give them clear expectations, timelines, and then step back and let them do it their way, but stay available for them for coaching and support. Shift number 3, stop protecting your comfort zone. This was an aha moment for me in my conversation on this podcast with Gary Ridge, the former CEO of WD-40, who's just awesome. You need to check out the episode. I put the link in the show notes. Gary shared that great leaders protect their comfort zone because it's easy, but what leaders don't realize that when you're protecting your comfort zone, sure, maybe it's easy for you, but what you're really doing is you're hurting your team members, you're preventing them from growth opportunities, and overall, you're hurting your organization. I'm the first to admit, over the years, I have fallen victim to this several times. Let me share with you an example. About 10 years ago, we had a top performing sales rep who was absolutely toxic for our culture. And I kind of put up with it. I knew that I should have a conversation with this guy. I didn't for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, he was number 2 as far as revenue generating. And quite frankly, I was concerned about losing him. And number 2, having a difficult conversation is hard. So I kind of avoided it and I kind of hoped things would work out for their own, but they didn't. They actually got worse. We lost one of our top customer experience reps. And in their exit interview, they stated to HR that they left. One of the key reasons why they left was they could no longer work with such a bully in the sales department. So it woke me up. I sat the individual down. I had a coaching conversation. I heard them out. I gave them an opportunity to learn and grow and change, but they didn't do it. So we made a very tough decision and we let the person go. The very next day, another top performing individual came to see me and thanked me. They said, look, this has been going on far too long. It's great to see that Learnit actually put culture over just revenue on its own. And they felt like it was a brand new day for Learnit. What this taught me here is that you need to do what's best for your team and your overall culture. Have that difficult conversation, make that bold move in whatever's best interest of your organization. I want you to think about something that's going on right now for you. I bet you there's a difficult conversation out there that you've been avoiding or a tough decision you haven't pulled the trigger on. I want you to take action today. Find a time and have that conversation or discuss with your team and make that bold move. My guess is that when you do it, it will go better than you think it would. And at the bare minimum, you're going to walk away feeling better about yourself because as a people first leader, you did the right thing. Before we move on to the 4th shift, I'm thinking again about Gary Ridge and how great he is. If you live in the continental US and you want a copy of his awesome book, Any Dumbass Can Do It, shoot me a note on LinkedIn and I'll mail you a physical copy. I got 3 or 4 left. Shift 4, from lead how you like to be led to lead how each team member prefers to be led. Speaking about great Learn It All podcast episodes, you have to check out the episode with Ethan Evans, a former executive from Amazon. Not only does he have great stories with Jeff Bezos, but he also talks about what Shift 4 is, and he calls it chameleon leadership. Essentially, chameleon leadership, or leading like other people want to be led, it's about getting curious, asking your team members questions, and learning the unique needs, motivators, and communication preferences for your team members. When you do this, first and foremost, your people will feel like they've been heard, which is huge because when they feel heard, it will build a stronger connection with them. They'll have more trust in you and it will inspire them to perform better. Here's what happens if you don't do this. Leaders who lack self-awareness, they fall into the trap of thinking that everybody wants to lead the way they wanted to be led. You know, how they were communicated with, everybody's the same. That is so far from the truth. It will lead to communication breakdowns, frustrated team members, and quite frankly, they'll feel less respected. And a lot of times you'll see top talent leave because of it. Here is a great recent example of learning how to lead and work better with your team. So recently in a call with my sales team, I asked each of the 8 team members to share how they prefer to be communicated with best. So did they prefer email, text, phone conversations? And one of the team members shared with me that he preferred text or email communication, written communication, over me calling him and speaking to him over Teams because he was deaf in one ear. So written communication was much easier and better for him. Now, shame on me for not knowing that sooner, but it's a great learning lesson. People are never perfect, so you learn as you go. And this is something that I will always keep in mind moving forward. And ever since this conversation with my sales rep, our communication has been much stronger. And here we are at shift 5, one of my favorites. Leaders speak last. This is a great one to end on. It's easy to make this shift, but it's hard to do right. And if you're somebody like me and you're full of ideas, here's the thing as a leader. If in every meeting that you jump in and you start sharing your ideas or the direction you want to go, what happens is everybody else in the room will clam up and not say anything because nobody wants to disagree with the leader. And over time, when you do this, people will stop thinking about how to make the organization better. And they'll just come in saying, hey, the leader's going to just share what he wants. And when you do that, no one wants to question the leader, and they're just going to fall right in line with you. This is so dangerous. It stunts innovation, it stunts team members' growth, and it trains people to stop being curious and for them to stop looking for ways to improve your organization. Along the same lines, another trap you need to avoid is to only look for advice from the highest paid people in the rooms or the people with the highest titles. Some of the very best ideas come from frontline workers and people in different areas. If your default is only to listen to the highest paid people in the room, who a lot of times are so far removed from where the real action is, you're missing out as well. Please keep that in mind. In your next meeting, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make sure that you let everybody in the room go around the room, let them share their ideas and their thoughts, and I want you to bite your tongue and resist the urge to jump in until the very end. And when you get consistent at doing this, and you let everybody speak up and share their ideas, it's going to motivate people. And I bet that you're going to find out that the best ideas in the room aren't coming from you, they're coming from your team. And when you do that, you'll be a true Learnit leader, and it's going to help your organization grow and evolve big time. All right, so we're almost at the end here. Let's just recap really quickly the 5 shifts. I want you to go from being a know-it-all to a learn-it-all. Be open-minded, be curious, and don't be afraid to make tough decisions. Number 2, stop being a hero and make the shift into becoming a hero maker. Remember, people-first leaders understand that they win through their team. Shift number 3, step out of your comfort zone. When you protect your comfort zone as a leader, you may be just doing it because you feel like it's easy for you. You're really hurting your team members and preventing them from growth opportunities. Shift number 4, stop leading the way that you like to be led and instead practice chameleon leadership. Figure out how each of your unique individuals on your team want to be led and lead them that way. And shift number 5, speak last. In the next meeting, let everybody share their ideas. Be curious. Don't just always turn to the highest paid person in the room, because the best ideas will bubble up from frontline workers and all over the place. So throughout the episode, I've already sprinkled in a couple of action items and things I want you to do this week, but I want to challenge you to reflect back on the 5 shifts that we discussed. And I want you to really think about, starting tomorrow, first and foremost, are you a know-it-all or a learn-it-all? You can't be a great leader unless you're humble. So really, really work on that. And besides that, look at the 5 shifts and think of one that you want to start implementing immediately. And if you want, send me a note. Let me know how it's going. Take out a journal and start writing them down. And if you get consistent with these and you write them down and you look at them over the next 90 days, I promise you, you'll be a better leader and you'll start seeing changes. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this episode. And like I mentioned before, I have a special offer for you. And that offer is 45 days of free live learning training at Learnit for you and up to 20 of your team members in everything from how to learn how to delegate to building trust with your team, or maybe even Microsoft Copilot. All you have to do is go to learnit.com/free. That's learnit.com/free, or click on the link in the show notes and get yourself signed up. Finally, before we close out, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the Learn It All podcast and write a review on your favorite platform. It really helps us get our message out. And until next time, everybody, stay curious, keep learning, have a great day. Thank you. If there's one thing I've learned over all these years when it comes to interviewing leaders and leading Learnit, is that too many people make leadership way more complicated than it really ever needed to be.